Panther people, what up? The Carolina Panthers defense sucked. Let's make it better in one draft. What's going on? You watch Panthers Post. Thanks for joining. Well, we got some news here before we get to the rebuild of the Carolina Panthers defense with the same defensive coordinator. Joe Barrow is still the guy. Pass game coordinator Nate Carroll, son of Pete Carroll, is not going back to the Carolinas. He previously served as the wide receiver coach with the Seahawks under his father, Pete. Looks like he could be going back there potentially. Also, this just a couple hours ago, the Atlanta Falcons, we kind of already knew this was going to happen. They've interviewed Steve Wilks, who was the former defensive coordinator with the Carolina Panthers, former interim head coach for the Carolina Panthers, and still, for a lot of people, the guy who still should be the Panthers head coach, but looks like he could potentially be coaching within the division. Free agency sets up the draft. We know this. So these guys, what I'm talking about, who the Panthers can draft, if I talk about them, it's because they didn't get them in free agency, or they didn't get like a blue chip guy in free agency that fits this position. So they had to fill it in the draft. So, and also, I'm not going through a 7-round mock with this. I'm just talking about that 8th overall pick. And in my head, I'm thinking this is going to be a stick and pick situation. Best player available for the Carolina Panthers. Again, referencing this Connor Rogers interview with Kyle Bailey, WFNZ. Yes, I listen to Charlotte Sports Radio while in Toronto. And he talked about how the blue chip guys really last maybe until top 9, top 10. After that, there is a drop in talent when it comes to the other guys in the draft. This is not a strong offensive draft. According to these guys, it's mainly a defense, meat and potatoes kind of draft, which is great. A lot of depth at edge, a lot of depth at defensive line, a good amount of corners as well, safeties. Running back seems to be a super, super deep draft this year, which is great news for the Carolina Panthers because I don't think Jonathan Brooks is going to come back next year at all. I would not force this guy to play next year. So this is the draft that is tailor-made for the Carolina Panthers to do well in. And they talked about, saying that the blue chip guys are like top 10 picks, there's no way the Panthers are moving out of the top 10 because they need blue chip talent. We saw last year, J.C. Horn was the guy, Pro Bowler. He's going to get paid. He wants to stay with the Carolina Panthers. He's all about loyalty. He just said that on Jim Rome show. You got Derek Brown, that's a blue chip player right there, and then that's it. These are the guys who I think will be available at 8 on defense. So I'm not talking Tech McMillan, on defense, that I think make a difference. Georgia guy, Mikael Williams, 6'5", 265, defensive lineman, 15 solo tackles, 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. These two Georgia guys, spoiler alert, violent. Here he is here against University of Florida. And again, not an X's and O's guy. I'm just reacting to what I'm seeing. And already off the bat, this guy, there's something about these Georgia guys, him and another guy I'm going to talk about later in the show, just violent, man. You just get in your face and get mad. They play angry. Look at them, just jumping on the ball, jumping up, showing that athleticism, bull rushing, jumping, smacking the ball out of the air, almost recovering the fumble. He was again up through the middle, gets the quarterback with the University of Florida down, doing his high stepping, doing his showboating. I kind of love that. Hear him off the edge against CJ Stroud in the Chick-fil-A Bowl last year in the college football playoff, just smashing that tackle in the face, and then with the other hand, swatting CJ Stroud, almost causing a fumble there. Again, BCS championship here against TCU. What a mismatch that game was. Here's up against the quarterback, just letting him pay. Again, violence. Here he is again, just taking a look at number 77 with the Horned Frogs and just bull rushing the dude, and then find the strength to get the quarterback at the same time. Here's against LSU, Jaden Daniels. Didn't get him in that sense because it was to the running back. I would love to see a clip of him running Jaden Daniels down. That would be absolutely amazing. This is up against, I have no idea who the hell these guys are. He's up against right now. UT Martin. Okay, this is a gimme game. I can't believe Georgia only scored 7 points at that much time left in the first. But there he is against much weaker talent. This is last year. There he is again off the edge. It's against South Carolina. Okay. And then up against this guy. There it goes. You will not outrun this guy. You will not outrun him. You will not outrun the other Georgia Bulldog that I'm going to be talking about. Hip up against the tackle there in the run game and doing his thing. Again, I'm not saying James Pierce is no good. I would be thrilled to have James Pierce in the 8th overall pick if everyone else is gone. But these Georgia guys, there's just something about them. There's something about them that I like. And I'm going to talk about him now. Jalen friggin' Walker. I think this is the most popular name right now in the Carolina Panthers circle. the fandom. I think we want him. I'll tell you who he reminds me of. He reminds me of a couple guys. One of them is a Panther great, just the way he plays. I just saw it. I'm like, this guy reminds me of this dude. Mixed with another guy who is a personal favorite defensive player of mine, not with the Carolina Panther franchise, but here he is against Clemson in the kickoff game, first game of the season. Again, on the edge, boom, 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 run game, short of the first down. And again, I think the difference between him and the other guys, where you find him on the field changes every single game. He is versatile, and I think he will fit the scheme. I know we hate the word scheme, the system of a Jared Everett with a 3-4 defense, but he can be that athletic edge linebacker and then just linebacker in coverage as well. I think he could be that guy. Here he is again in the linebacker position here against the University of Tennessee, staying pat, beating the block, stopping the run. There again in the linebacker position, spying the quarterback. Boom, doesn't just gains a yard off of the line of scrimmage again. Now he's on the edge. Boom, gets the running back, gets the first down. But here he is again on the edge there, rushing the nice little swim move there, causing a disruption, making the quarterback feel not safe in their position. Okay, there he is on the edge again. Okay, cutting on the inside, making havoc, and getting to the quarterback still, forcing a poor play. There he is right up the middle yet again, just bull rushing to Jackson Dart, making him make a stupid throw, leads to a pick with Georgia, what looks like a pick. On the edge here now, just trailing the running back in sloppy conditions, finding his feet, tackle for loss. Another one, tackle for loss. Look at that. Beating the guy and then going inside, running through the muck, getting dirty, hitting the running back right in the middle of the line of scrimmage. Perfect stuff. This guy, okay, this is who he reminds me of. This is against Texas and a quarterback that everyone's going to be sucking for 2026, 2027. Okay, there's a linebacker position there, running on the outside, cutting back inside and tracking the running back, letting him do his thing. Here he is, just battling that tackle there, still getting the Ewers. And then here he is again. Oh, just beating that block there. Boom, 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 fighting out the tackle. And then with the other arm, just tracking the quarterback. Here he is here. Tracking Archie Manning, boom, athletic dude, gets him. Here he is. This is the one that made all the highlight reels. Look, run. Here's Archie Manning, presumably the first overall draft pick. Just chase him down, bang, gangbusters, loss of yards. You know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of Thomas Davis and Troy Polamalu at the same time. Maybe because his versatility, he can do anything. Like Thomas Davis started as a safety at the University of Georgia. I think he rocked number 47 with the Panthers, and he wasn't a linebacker. He moved down to linebacker. He is a big dude. He is definitely not undersized. Jalen Walker, 6'2", 245. Salisbury, North Carolina. Shout out Salisbury, the first town I fell in love with in North Carolina. It wasn't Charlotte. I dropped off in Charlotte and then spent multiple nights in Salisbury for work conferences 2 years in a row. So shout out to Salisbury, North Carolina. So he's not massive. He's not a behemoth. The other two guys we're talking about, Pierce and McKeel, they're both like 6'5 plus, massive dudes. This guy's 6'2", 245. Still wouldn't mess with him. But he moves like a safety, but he could also play edge. He could also play linebacker. And just the violence I was talking about, the urgency that he plays with, and it kind of just not off scriptness, but it just kind of seems like the football field is his playground, and that's where the Troy Polamalu-ness of this all feels like to me. And I think if your Mason Grahams, your Abdul Carters, your Will Johnsons, who I'm going to talk about, are not available at 8, hell, even if Will Johnson is available at 8, I would run the card up to get Jalen Walker. And you could just tell him too, hey, you could rock number 11. You could be our Micah Parsons. Like right now, Abdul Carter's getting all the love because he's on the biggest stage and he absolutely tore up Notre Dame despite the loss. I think Jalen Walker is the guy to go for. And just to mix it up a little bit, Will Johnson, 6'2", 202 from Detroit, had an injury-plagued season this year, did not really play much at all. 12 solo tackles, 2 interceptions. One of them was for a pick 6. Maybe 2 of them were for a pick 6. He had 2 touchdowns. There you go. So this is not as of a sexy a pick, but it could be a smart pick to have 2 blue chip cornerbacks in a division which now has Michael Penix with the weapons that he has in Atlanta, Baker Mayfield, and who knows who the Saints are going to, like Baker Mayfield with Mike Evans, and whoever the hell they have on that team. They might not have Chris Godwin. We might have Chris Godwin at that point. But you need two shutdown guys, because if J.C. Horn is not traveling and you can't re-sign Mike Jack, or you don't want to re-sign Mike Jack, Will Johnson might have to be the guy to just survive in the division, which is not a tough division, but still a division that you want to win. You want to win the division, try to make it to the wild card at least next year. And if you're up against the likes of Baker Mayfield, where the future is still potentially bright for him, even though he makes dumb mistakes, Michael Penix, who scares the shit out of me, and with the Saints, Spencer Rattler doesn't scare me, but I'm seeing on the Twitter sphere that maybe they're trying to tank and trying to bring Arch Manning back. Arch Manning 2.0. His granddaddy played for the Saints. It would kind of be poetic. And we know the NFL's script. It'd be kind of crazy if his grandson ended up playing for the Saints, where his own dad is from as well. So you got to beef up the secondary for sure. Again, unless something happens to free agency, but I feel like Will Johnson is like a smart pick as well. Like, he seems like a good dude. He seems like he could be another face of the franchise type dude. I can see that. I wouldn't, not a guy I'd buy a jersey for. He doesn't excite me. I think Jalen Walker excites me. All the guys I talked about before excite me. If Abdul Carter somehow falls to the Panthers 8, this is why I didn't really mention Abdul Carter. I don't think he's going to fall to the Panthers. I don't. Especially what he's been doing in the college football playoff. I think he can go as high as 1. He can go as high as 2 to the Browns. I see him going with the Browns to try to keep Myles Garrett happy so he's not constantly getting double teamed. Abdul Carter, Myles Garrett, that'll be crazy. Maybe keeps Myles Garrett in Cleveland, not requesting a trade or anything like that. So I think we've lost out on the Mason Graham on the Abdul Carter. I think Mason Graham doesn't go past the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't. I don't think. I still think the Raiders are still open to getting a quarterback, especially if they get Ben Johnson. If Tom Brady does his old tampering thing, I could see them still getting like a Shador if Tom Brady believes in him. If not, I don't see Mason Graham falling past the Raiders. I don't see Mason Graham, Abdul Carter falling behind after the Jets. So I feel like the Panthers kind of have to get creative and look at the other guys. And you know what? If I'm Dan Morgan, I want a guy who plays like his hair is on fire. That's Jalen Walker. Again, Thomas Davis, by his utility, just how he plays, his aggressiveness, his violence, and Troy Polamalu with just the energy, the frenetic energy that he plays with, and just kind of doesn't seem like he's got a script. It's just like the field is his playground, as I mentioned before. He just kind of plays ball and has fun. And then I kind of like that. And I think that will excite people. And the fact that the man's from North Carolina as well. Like, it doesn't help. It doesn't hurt that you got two guys potentially in James Pierce or Jalen Walker who could be drafted by you that are from the area. You want to build that culture. These two guys at some point, there's got to be a picture of them with the Carolina Panthers hat or t-shirt or jersey on or in the stadium, kind of like Ike Ekwonu. I can see that happening just to build the culture, get people out there, and I'd feel good about that. So let me know in the comments below, out of these guys, if it's not Abdul Carter, if it's not Mason Graham, Jalen Walker, Mikael Williams, Will Johnson, James Pierce, who do you guys want in the 8th overall pick? Let me know. Comments below. I'll see you guys soon.